Hey everybody, it's me, Andrew. Get out into nature and tune in for yourself. Resonate with the Earth's electromagnetic field via 432 Hertz, the universal frequency. Balance out psychologically and emotionally, and further strengthen your brain and your heart coherence as well. Get a plant-based diet going for yourselves today and nurture yourself right back into life. We are literally herbivores in nature. Further balance out your physical body's pH level and to get with alkalinity, and you can generate some static electricity. Send me some love telepathically. Set attention to your mind and set intention to communicate. That is all there is to telepathy. You are now tuning in to great days. And today I'm going to do a video or cover a video on these living reproducing robots that they actually created at the University of Vermont and Tufts University as well, with the help of some supercomputer clusters. And also I'm going to basically voice over a video here on YouTube so we can all just get the knowledge in, and then I'm obviously going to talk on it as well. So today's video is Xenobots, a living robot. Now, so let's get right into it, alright? Let's not waste any time with this.
You're looking at the world's first living robots. That's right, these micro-machines are in fact brand new programmable life forms that researchers believe could help clean microplastics from our oceans or even repair organs inside our bodies. So what exactly are these little things? And should we expect to see them whizzing through our bloodstreams anytime soon? Measuring less than a millimeter wide, these Xenobots, as they're formally known, were created by researchers from the University of Vermont and Tufts University.
So they basically started off with saying the purpose of these tiny little Xenobots, which they give two main purposes, which are to help the human or not to succumb, but more to pretty much develop immunities towards some diseases, and also to clean up waterways is also what their primary functions would be. But there's pretty much not just two, there's plenty of things that they would be using these for. And I don't know if they're gonna actually tell us that. We can always deduce that on our own through a little bit of thought, okay? But let's keep going with this.
Using stem cells harvested from the embryos of the African clawed frog and a sophisticated computer algorithm, they generated a blueprint design that allowed the team to then build a new form of life.
So they actually got some stem cells from the heart and muscle tissues of the African clawed frog, and then with those stem cells from those two different areas of the frog, they basically made a little clump of these stem cells, which is what these Xenobots are. And then further, they pretty much used algorithms that the supercomputer clusters designed to bring about the specific type of actions that these that these little clumps of the frog stem cells are made up of. Okay, so it's literally just supercomputer algorithms and then these frog stem cells. And then obviously you can see in silico, that's one of the algorithms that the supercomputer cluster is generated to correspond to the little cluster of stem cells in vivo. And what silico is pretty much silicon. It's like a siliconic fluid. And the reason why they are using silicon in that manner is because super quantumized computer clusters are actually integrated to be silicon in nature. They're silicon based, they're no longer carbon based organisms, or they're no longer carbon based technologies. They're completely siliconic based because silicon is like a higher state of ourselves. When humans come to be silicon based instead of carbon based, because we are carbon based right now, we're carbon based beings along with most of the earth. But when we integrate ourselves and evolve into a siliconic based being, our intelligence, our capabilities, and everything else immensely boost. So this is why supercomputers are known as supercomputers and are very, very universally intelligent, because they're siliconic based already. They're siliconic beings. Okay, so let's get into this.
That has never existed before. Stem cells were first differentiated into skin and heart cells. The skin cells were chosen for their capability to bond together to form the passive architecture of the xenobot, while heart cells were selected for their ability to contract and relax, with the goal of manufacturing a type of tiny engine that would propel the xenobots. After observing the natural dynamics between the skin and heart cells, the data was fed into an evolutionary algorithm run on a supercomputer. Based on this data, the algorithm was able to generate millions of different cell configurations to test for a desired outcome, in this case, locomotion. And so began the test for survival. Only the fittest configurations advanced to the next stage, where their designs were then crafted into better digital models. After about 100 test runs, only the very best configurations were left. Thanks to the power of their evolutionary algorithm, the team finally had a winning blueprint for their new life forms. All they had to do now was create them. Sounds simple? Well, it wasn't. The team used tiny forceps and a microscope to painstakingly perform microsurgery on heart and skin cells to create their novel organisms.
So they pretty much created some type of prototypes out of the skin and heart cells of the frog. And obviously the skin cells play a specific role and the heart cells play a specific role as well. And together these two areas of the frog actually were able to band together cellularly, and this created a type of tiny little engine, which is what the Xenobot is. Further, this engine would be acting off of the algorithmic configurations that the supercomputer would provide for said xenobots, or clumps of skin cells and heart cells. And basically it just continued to generate the novel algorithms that would eventually bring about the most capable engines, or xenobots basically.
And voila, the researchers created their first Xenobots. The biobots could propel themselves, moving in straight lines or in circles. They could work together, herding loose particles into tiny heaps. And when cut open, the Xenobots healed themselves. Understanding exactly how cells do this is ultimately the goal behind this research. Cells are incredibly intelligent. There are still so many things that we don't know about how they work. Like, how do they communicate to build complex bodies, or even heal? If we can...
So cells, they don't truly understand how cells communicate, or even
like, how do they communicate to build...
They don't understand how they actually communicate to band together in these different types of geometrical alignments, you know, or even self-heal. On the atomic level, okay, the atomic level is all about frequency and vibration and energy. It's literally the atomic level, or atoms are literally tiny little radio transmitters, or we can probably call them something like neurotransmitters, and or they're just compared, or literally radio transmitters. And whenever they are able to send out these different radio emissions, this actually brings in a type of fluctuation throughout the energy field, or the ether, or the void that is around the cell or the atoms. And then this is how the atoms actually come into precise geometrical alignments with each other, and this further builds the cellular level a lot larger, on a whole larger scale from the atomic level.
Complex bodies.
So how do they communicate to build complex bodies? Pretty much the nuclei and the atoms within cells are basically radio transmitters, and when an atom transmits radio frequencies, it literally communicates with the other atoms, or it builds the space that the atoms are within, or the void that the atoms are within. And then once the void is once again built by these radio transmissions of the atoms, they literally just start to come together, and these atoms coming together then result in intelligent cells, and then these cells further are able to communicate on the exact same law, and then build upon themselves complex algorithms or complex architectures.
Or even heal. If we could decode those signals, scientists could build smarter robots with pre-programmed tasks that would be biodegradable and biocompatible. And these little Xenobots are just the first step in figuring out how to control anatomy on demand. I mean, just imagine all the applications of this type of research. If scaled up, Xenobots could be used for regenerative medicine, like repairing organs, or growing body parts for transplant from the ground up. They could be created using organ type of research. If scaled up, Xenobots could be used for regenerative medicine, like repairing organs, or growing body parts for transplant from the ground up.
So this is one of their functions, and this is what the future is going towards. This is all about the technological revolution, or uprise, or even transhumanism, which translates to transcending human, because transhumanism is literally when humanity starts to technologically enhance themselves in order to ensure a longer life expectancy, eventually coming into a state of immortality. So let's say we can live to 100 years right now. With transhumanism, or the technological enhancements that they want to use in the process of transhumanism, we would possibly be potentially able to live to 300, 400, and 500 years old, and that's how we are transcending human, through this technological enhancement. And this is one of those enhancements. This is one of those tiny little technological robots that is living, that is pretty much going to allow such things by having these literally implanted in your body when you need some regenerative medicines for specific areas of the body, or even allowing like a regeneration of your organs. So let's say you have like a bad kidney or something. They can implant these into you. Instead of waiting for a kidney transplant, they can just plant these into you, and then they can go in your body and they can start building up a synthetic kidney for you, and it would pretty much be as efficient as a real organic kidney. Okay, so let's continue.
They could be created using a patient's own cells, then inserted into their bloodstream and programmed to clear the plaque from clogged arteries, or to detect cancer. But the applications aren't just limited to the medical field. The team also envisions assigning individual tasks to a swarm of Xenobots to collect microplastics from the ocean, or search and collect radioactive contaminants.
So not only do they want to use it for healing and medicine or medicinal things or even creating synthetic organs, they also want to use these tiny little robots to basically build up the earth once again. And one of these examples is to actually clean microplastics from the ocean by literally banding multiple swarms of these Xenobots together and then further controlling them, just like we play video games with a controller controlling an avatar. They would do the exact same thing but with swarms of these nanobots, and then they can literally just clean up microplastics that we can't see with the eyes, but these Xenobots would be able to pretty much clean those plastics out for a healthier water, okay? And collect radioactive contaminants as well. Okay, so let's continue even further.
Now, a world full of custom, planet-saving Xenobots sounds really cool, but you may have already asked yourself about the ethical implications for creating a totally new form of life. And you're not alone. The team has fully acknowledged that future iterations of Xenobots could include nervous systems, blood vessels, or even reproductive parts. And it's these additions that are prompting many to wonder if Xenobots should be considered more than just machines. There's also the tiny fact that the research is partially sponsored by DARPA's Lifelong Learning Machines program, which again has left some observers questioning the future direction of this research. However, the research team is open and encouraging of these ethical discussions in the public domain, in the hope that policymakers can keep up and implement the right regulations as this science progresses. Right now, the Xenobots are still really basic and currently restricted in their reproductive abilities. And in terms of scalability, as we've just learned, these bots aren't exactly easy to create, requiring hours of microsurgery just to create one. The next phase of the research is to develop a Xenobot capable of...
So they are capable of reproducing as well, but they are very, very simplified in their reproductive systems or processes. They pretty much cut the tiny little Xenobots, like they cut etch into it and have it like the Pac-Man shape with a little acute angle cut into it, and then that further allows for a higher efficiency to collect more of the little pellets that it's collecting. And when basically collecting more pellets, they were also able to have the Xenobots come to build a second generation of themselves, and then this further created the next generation, which is a sense of reproduction. Okay, so they are capable of reproducing. They're just very, very simplistically programmed to reproduce right now, or they're only capable of very simple reproductive processes. And also they also wants to basically be able to carry out payloads, okay? And this is basically means that these Xenobots will also have the potential or the capability of delivering drug molecules to specific areas of the body if it is needed for a person to heal, you know. So let's say you are lacking some specific drugs within your body, then they will use these Xenobots in order to deliver the necessary drugs to that area of the body, thus healing you, okay?
Of carrying a payload using a patient's cells to deliver medications deep within the human body without eliciting an immune response. So ultimately, these Xenobots are just the first steps in trying to understand how life starts, perhaps one day providing scientists with the ability to control exactly how life forms. For more robotic topics, check out...
So that's the video on Xenobots, okay? I'm gonna go in a little bit on the Xenobot even further. So this sounds like a very, very globally changing phenomena or even a organism. However, there is always cons with the pros, you know. There isn't just a sense of greatness that comes with this. Obviously, it is very scientifically enlightening and remarkable, but there is always the goods and the bads that come together. You know, there's always the bad side. And with technologies like this, they can literally do all of those things, like clean up the oceans from microplastics. They can literally build you new organs. They can deliver drug molecules to specific areas of your body. They can do all of these things and even more. Okay, but if they can do all of these things, then they can literally use these Xenobots in the exact opposite manner, being they are so highly secretive or discreet in their nature because they are so tiny and they are made to be as fluent as possible. They can actually put these things out all over the society, even in foods, and you won't even know it, you know? And then you'll go about eating this, and then you'll literally have these things within your body, and then they would further be able to change your chemical states due to the fact that they are able to carry out drug molecules to specific areas of the body. They would be pre-programmed to further change your chemical state to whatever another person would want them to. So let's say an elite put out all of these little Xenobots within a fast food corporation. Let's say that McDonald's, right, contained all of these tiny little Xenobots within their processed foods. And these Xenobots were pre-programmed to basically change your chemical state to a type of consumerism, to have you keep going into that McDonald's on a addiction, which is just a chemical state, and then further keep you in poverty due to the fact that you have an addiction towards these processed junk foods. But in reality, it's literally just these Xenobots all in your body, changing up your chemical states by delivering different drugs through your body to different areas, and then this further brings you to a specific chemical state that would have you more addicted to certain things, you know. That's how they hold the capabilities of programming you and controlling you or manipulating your physical body. And that's exactly what the elites do. Okay, the elites don't want you to know any of this because their whole job is to keep you in ignorance and keep you dumb and keep you poor, because if you are in those states, then they can stay on top as the 1% and they can keep on controlling you for their benefit. Okay, so Xenobots, these are a very, 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 very fascinating phenomenon, to say the least. And there's plenty of ways they can actually use them to control humanity as well, which they are already doing. And the fact that they are just public now is literally them allowing the 99% to know a little bit more of what's to come in the future, which comes with the technological revolution, or even transhumanism, which is already on the horizon. Okay, you see this evident with the metaverse. This is literally a virtual universe that they want people to live in. Okay, and it's gonna get really crazy within the next, let's say, 9 years. So by 2030, America and the world is going to be completely changed as we know it. And this is just a little bit on the tiny little living robots that are actually introducing themselves to the world. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So I do thank you guys for watching today's video on Xenobots, a living robot, and I hope I did bring you into knowledge of some of the things or some of the phenomena that is actually taking place on the globe. Hope I opened up your mind a little bit more, and I hope I got your curiosity sparked. Make sure to subscribe over here to the left of me and help me reach 100 subscribers. Drop a like on the video to the right of me and support the channel once again. Generate some static electricity from the ethereal body or the spatial body or even the first layer of the aura. It needs to be strengthened and realized for the collective rising consciousness. I love you guys. Have a great day. and peace out.